Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Migratory Monk channel. Right now I am staying in Rishikesh. You can see behind me the Mother Ganga is flowing. My soul proposed to coming here that I want to make audiobooks of some very important topic like Puru and Alexander, historical topics regarding the story of Puru and Alexander and the birth of Lord Rama. There are many highly intellectual people. They are demanding that Ramayana, the fight between Rama and Ravana, happened in just 14,000 years ago. They have their research work. They have done their research work. But this is not true. The way Vedic history, the real Vedic history has been distorted, or people are distorting it, which is very dangerous for our civilization, our culture. So that is the reason I have decided to make audio books of these historical topics, like regarding Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, historical events like this Puru Alexander or Rana Pratap, or the death of the birth of Adi Guru Shankaracharya. These are very important topics. Similarly, the life story of Lord Buddha, how many Buddhas are there, who was the actual Buddha. These are very high level topics. Not everybody can understand it. People who have some background, who have some fundamental ideas about the Vedic history and culture, they can understand it. Ordinary people normally cannot understand it. So I have decided to make videos on these subjects, and I don't know whether people will watch it or not, but truth must be told, otherwise truth will be hidden forever. And I got very rare documents, the original historical documents from very reliable source, and it must be opened in the public. People should know about it. And I took the decision particularly after watching the movie Chhava. The way the life story, the biography of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj or his son Sambhaji has been hidden from us intentionally. It is very dangerous for our Indian civilization, for our society, Hindu society. So if we have some documents, original truths, and with us, we must publish it in the public, regardless of what other people say or what particularly the present administration or politicians they react after watching all these movies or after watching all these videos. We don't care. We must be courageous enough to speak the truth. So this is the purpose, and I hope that the audience, particularly the Hindu Sanatanis, they will watch these videos, because this knowledge is extremely rare. You cannot find this type of historical evidence very easily. So please watch it, subscribe my channel and like it. In this way our Vedic tradition, culture and history will be come out in the public, and people will know the greatness of Bharat. So again we will be able to establish the glorious past, not fully but at least some portion if established. That will be very helpful for our future generation. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Migratory Monk channel. In this episode, I will tell you about the famous war between King Puru and Alexander, and how the truth has been hidden from us by the so-called modern historians. So we will expose these so-called historians in this episode. Alexander was born in 356 BC. His father's name was Philip. Philip was the king of Macedonia. His mother was Olympia, the princess of Epirus. As far as Philip was concerned, he was a honest and intelligent statesman. Olympia, Alexander's mother, on the other hand, was an uncouth, uneducated, and a sorceress. She was much more interested in doing black magic. Ambitious plan for waging wars and expanding the borders of the kingdom filled the court atmosphere. Macedonia looked forward to be the leader of the Greek states and win renown in aggressive wars. When Alexander was a little boy, Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, was appointed tutor to Alexander when the latter attained the age of 14. But Alexander was a wild, adventurous, and restless boy. He was more interested in hearing news and information from travelers, soldiers, and ambassadors. He liked to taste life in raw. Once, during his father's absence from the capital, Alexander had led the royal army to quell a rebellion by the tribes and was successful. So he got some reputation. At about this time, domestic trouble between Alexander's parents, Philip and his mother Olympia, was coming to a head. They decided to separate. Philip took another wife named Cleopatra. Olympia, the queen, left the palace. Alexander, whose turbulent nature was more akin to his mother, left with her. Cleopatra bore a son to Philip after some time, creating a rival claimant to the throne. Sometime later, Philip was murdered, and history has suspected Alexander of patricide. People say, or modern historians say, that Alexander committed this crime being influenced by his mother, Olympia. The royal troops supported Alexander because he was the eldest son of Philip. So after killing his father, Alexander grabbed the throne. Then he had his cousin and stepmother assassinated, so that he may have no rival to the throne. Now we will discuss Alexander's military campaign, because Alexander has now already become a young man. So he first subdued the rebellious hill tribes of his country, annexed the region along with Danube River. He then destroyed the capital of the rebellious Thebes tribe. This established his reputation as a warrior of promise. Now Alexander got the full support and submission of the Greeks and Athenians. Thus, assured of support, he planned to conquer the world. He first, in 334 BC, turned to east with an army of 40,000 soldiers from different Greek communities. Alexander first visited Troy and worshipped the souls of the heroes of the Trojan War, seeking divine blessings for his conquest. Hearing Alexander's adventure, the king of Iran, Darius, sent a large force superior to Alexander to nip Alexander's ambition in the bud. The two armies met on the banks of Granicus River. A fierce battle was fought. By sunset, the Iranian army's resistance broke and it failed. Now Alexander was in full control of all the routes leading to Asia Minor. He declared the local Greek settlements to be independent, appointed governors of the conquered regions, and proclaimed himself an emperor. 1 year later, Alexander annexed the kingdom of Gordium in North Phrygia. There he caught with his sword the famous Gordian knot, tied on the chariot of Gordius, the ancient Phrygian king. Up to this time, Alexander's naval force was also helping him in the war. But now Alexander ordered his naval to return to its base. When this news reached the Iran's king Darius, he ordered his naval force to attack Greece, the homeland of Alexander, the native place of Alexander. Alexander got the news and decided to stop Darius on the middle of the way at Syrian coast. Today Syrian means today it is called Syria. The two armies met at Issus in 333 BC. Darius was defeated and to save his life offered half of his kingdom to Alexander. Now Alexander besieged Tyre, a small kingdom. The siege lasted for 7 months and the whole Phoenicia was annexed. Then Alexander captured Gaza and entered Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him as their deliverer from Iranian rule. Here Alexander founded Alexandria, city of Alexandria, in 332 or 331 BC, within 1 year. Now, after planned to attack Iran, Alexander on September 20, 331 BC crossed Tigris River. As he traversed Mesopotamia and moved towards Iran, Darius confronted him near Gojmil. Darius was defeated and escaped to Media. Then Alexander very easily annexed Babylonian region of the Persian Empire. But at that time Babylonian was an territory under the Persian Empire. In 330 BC, Darius was murdered by his own companions and the dead body was handed over to Alexander by Darius' companions themselves. Now Alexander moved towards Afghanistan. So in the spring of 328 BC, Alexander crossed the Hindu Kush and annexed the whole of Bactria, a small country, to his states, previously conquered states. When Alexander was staying in this Bactria region, Roxana, the daughter of the local ruler Octex, was taken captive and made to play wife to Alexander. Alexander now moved forward towards the Indus Valley. He poised on the outskirts of the Indian, means Bharatiya subcontinent, beyond the Indus. Now we will discuss what was the political scenario inside the Indus Valley in Bharat. There were 3 kingdoms in this Indus Valley area. Number 1, King Ambhi ruled the region around Jhelum river and Takshashila was his capital. Number 2, King Puru ruled over the territory bordering around Chenab river. And I don't know what was the capital, what was his capital. Another king ruled the Abhisar territory around Kashmir. So these 3 kings were the chieftains of that area when Alexander entered in Indus Valley. King Ambhi, being at loggerheads with Puru, saw in Alexander's advent an opportunity to settle old scores. The Abhisaras selected to sit on the fence by keeping both Puru and Alexander at a distance. So they remain neutral, the Abhisaras, guessing to make friendship with either party who won the war. Typical Indian character. Abhisaras, the king of Abhisaras, he decided जो भी जीतेगा पुरु और ये अलेक्जेंडर के बीच में लड़ाई में उसके साथ में फ्रेंडशिप कर लूँगा. So Puru was left alone completely to face the invader Alexander, who was actively held by Ambhi. Ambhi was helping Alexander. Traditional accounts gives no particular date of the war. A bridge was improvised over the Indus and Alexander's army crossed over into Bharat and encamped 16 miles to the north of Attock. Greek accounts also gives a complete wrong picture, because for them Alexander was a great hero, so they hide his undoing in Bharat. Generally, Greek historians who considers Alexander was a great hero say that out of his magnanimity, Alexander threw away his conquest in Bharat and returned to his native land after defeating the king Puru. But now we will discuss about what was the actual incident. According to Plutarch and a Greek historian, Alexander's army consisting of 20,000 footmen and 15,000 horses vastly outnumber the force that Puru put in the field. Alexander was also helped by Ambhi and Persian army. In page number 531, volume 7 of the Maharashtrian Dainyakos says, Alexander's army and Puru's army met in an head-on clash on the bank of Chenab, but Curtius, another Greek historian, writes that Alexander was encamped on the other side of Jhelum, and a division of Alexander's army reached an island in the Jhelum. The soldiers of Puru swam to the island, seized the area and attacked the Greeks. They killed many Greek soldiers. To escape death, many jumped into the river but were drowned. It is also written that Alexander crossed the river Jhelum with his army on a dark night in boats at a sharp bend about 60 miles above Haranpur. On the other side, King Puru's advance guard was led by his son. In the battle that ensued, King Puru's son got killed. It is said that it was a rainy day and Porus' mighty elephants got bogged down. But accounts left by Greek historians, if properly construed, make it clear that Porus' elephant crops caused havoc in the enemy ranks and routed Alexander's mighty host. Arian, a Greek historian, records that the Indian prince, means son of King Puru, wounded Alexander and killed his horse Bucephalus. Justin, another historian, says, as the battle began, Porus ordered a general assault. To avoid bloodshed, Puru generously offered to fight the Greek leader Alexander in a single combat. But Alexander refused the offer. In the engagement that followed, his horse mortally hit, slumped down under him, thrown down on the battlefield with a third. Alexander was in the danger of being surrounded by the enemy, but was whisked away by his bodyguard. He nearly escaped his death. Curtius writes, "The terror that Porus elephants spread in the Greek ranks is unbelievable. These animals inspired great terror, and their resonant cries frightened not only the Greek horses who slid away, but also their riders. They ran hither and thither looking for shelter. Now Alexander came into the picture to defend the army and attacked the elephant crops. Irritated by these assaults, the wounded animals charged in rage upon the attackers, who were in consequence trampled to death under their feet. The most dismal of all sight was of the elephants gripping the Greek soldiers with their trunks, hoisting them above their heads, and delivering them over into the hands of their riders for being beheaded, so the outcome was doubtful." पुरु महाराज के आर्मी में जो हाथी हुआ करते थे वो ग्रीक सोल्डर की कमर को पकड़ लेते थे और ऊपर माहुंत जो होता था उसको दिखा देते थे, तो माहुंत ऊपर बैठ के उनका गर्दन काट देता था. Diodorus, another historian, Greek historian, also testifies that the huge elephants had enormous strength and proved very useful. They stamped underfoot many Greek soldiers, crushing their bones and coats of mail. Coats of mail means their protective guard, like bulletproof guard, made of steel, either steel or iron. The elephants caught the soldiers by their trunks and dashed them against the ground in great fury. They also gored the soldiers to death with their tusks. So here we can understand very easily all these descriptions show that either the battle took place on a dry field, or that even if wet, it did not bog down King Porus' elephant crops, as is alleged. So, in spite of all these descriptions of the terror that Porus' brave army struck in the Greek hearts, it is claimed by partisan Greek accounts that King Porus was wounded and captured and his army had to lay down arms. That this is a canard and a motivated myth is also borne out by subsequent events. Greek historians would want us to believe that Alexander, who had records of numerous massacres, cruel executions, and burning down whole cities, was so taken in by King Porus' brave answer when taken prisoner about being treated as a monarch, that Alexander graciously agreed not only to return his territory but add to it. Mr. E.A.W. Baj, who has edited the Ethiopic text, has included in his work an account of the campaigns of Alexander. He observes that in the Battle of Jhelum, a large majority of Alexander's cavalry was killed. 50% of his cavalry was killed. Alexander realized that if he were to continue fighting, he would be completely ruined. So he therefore requested Porus to stop fighting. True to Bharatiya tradition, King Porus did not kill the surrendered enemy. हमारे यहाँ कहावत है, जब दुश्मन हथियार त्याग देता है और निहत्थे हो तो उस पर वार नहीं करना चाहिए। तो किंग पोरस, किंग पुरु इतने महान थे कि उन्होंने उसी परंपरा का फॉलो किया, और जब अलेक्जेंडर सरेंडर किया कि मैं लड़ाई नहीं करूँगा, तो किंग पुरु ने उसको मारा नहीं। सो आफ्टर दिस बोथ साइंड ए ट्रीटी, अलेक्जेंडर देन हेल्प हिम इन अनेक्सिंग अदर टेरिटोरीज टू हिज किंगडम। ये जो अदर टेरिटोरी है, ये अभिसारों का कुछ हिस्सा और किंग अम्भी का भी कुछ हिस्सा वो अलेक्जेंडर ने पुरु महाराज को दे दिया। द रीजन गिवन बाय मिस्टर बैज फॉर अलेक्जेंडर्स फ्लाइट इन दैट is that his shoulders were grief-stricken by the loss of thousands of comrades in arms. They threw their weapons and urged their leader Alexander to sue for peace. Mr. Baj adds that in asking for peace, Alexander said, Alexander पुरु महाराज को बोल रहा है, Porus, please pardon me. I have realized your bravery and strength. Now I cannot bear these agonies. Saddened in heart, I am planning to put an end to my life. I do not desire that my shoulders should be ruined like me. I am that culprit who has thrust them into the jaws of death. It does not become a king to thrust his shoulders into the jaws of death. Here we can understand how the real historical records has been distorted or hidden from us by the so-called modern fraud historians by getting the patronage of the government. Actually, Alexander wanted to kill King Puru exactly like Darius, the king of Iran. Still, after all these things, so-called historians say that Alexander won the battle and released after capturing King Puru and released him after that. It is saying exactly like that. A cobra suddenly appeared before a person to bite him, but suddenly he changed his form and became a beautiful princess and smiled at the opponent or the person. So by the way, King Puru also snatched away a vast territory of Ambhi and Abhisar. At that time in Bharat, every citizen was a warrior. ऐसा नहीं है कि ओनली क्षत्रियज, भारत की जो 4 वर्ण है, ब्राह्मण, क्षत्रिय, वैश्य, शूद्र, क्षत्रियज खाली फाइट करते थे, ऐसा नहीं है। अगर कुछ इमरजेंसी आ जाए तो अदर जो कम्युनिटी थी, वैश्य कम्युनिटी हो या ब्राह्मण कम्युनिटी हो, वो भी हथियार उठाते थे। सो ये कहना कि ओनली क्षत्रिय, कई लोग ऐसे भी, पर्टिकुलरली जो बुद्धिस्ट लोग हैं आज की तारीख में, ये प्रोपेगेंडा चलाते हैं कि वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम की वजह से भारत का डाउनफॉल हुआ था, क्योंकि खाली क्षत्रिय लोग ही थोड़े थे वो हथियार उठाए, और जो ब्राह्मण हैं, वैश्य हैं, शूद्र हैं, उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया, हथियार नहीं उठाए, इसलिए इंडिया हार गया, भारत हार गया। ये सरासर गलत बात है और इसका पूरा हमको एविडेंस चाहिए। ये जब अशोका अटैक किया था कलिंग के ऊपर, तो उस समय भी हम देख सकते हैं, उस समय कोई कलिंग का राजा नहीं था, कंप्लीट जो सिटीजन्स थे, कॉमन सिटीजन्स थे, उन्होंने लड़ाई की थी अशोक के अगेंस्ट में और जीते भी थे। सो नाउ बीइंग डिफीटेड, अलेक्जेंडर मूव बैक टुवर्ड्स हिज होमलैंड, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऑन द वे he was attacked by so many Indian hill tribes, Bharatiya hill tribes like Malois, Mushikans, Oxicans and Sambhus. So on the way, Alexander had to fight very hard for his survival, for his life. He was also gravely injured. So at last, in 323 BC, Alexander reached Babylon. He attended a feast at the house of his friend Medius. In that party, excessive wine drinking, bitter memories, and the misadventure combinedly led to his being stricken with fever. एक तो अलेक्जेंडर हार गया था, उसका अहंकार नष्ट हो गया था और कई सारे सोल्जर्स मारे गए थे और खुद भी वो इंजर्ड हो गया था। उसकी गर्दन पे और पिंजरे में गहरी चोट लगी थी उसे। और जो हिल ट्राइब से, इंडिया के हिल ट्राइब से, उन्होंने ये चोट उसको अलेक्जेंडर को पहुंचाए थे। वो मरते मरते बचा था वो। सो ये एक तरफ से तो अहंकार चला गया था, एक तरह से लोग भी मारे गए थे और ये खुद इंजर हो गया था। तो खूब दारू शराब भी पिया उसने पार्टी में, तो इससे उससे फेवर, बुखार आ गया, निमोनिया जैसा आ गया उसे। सो एट दैट टाइम ही वॉज ओनली 33 years old. After 10 days, he lost his speech. In June 28, in 323 BC, he died in coma. 323 BC में कोमा में, निमोनिया में हुआ था, बाद में कोमा हुआ, कोमा में उसकी मौत हो गई। A posthumous son, Aigus, was born to Alexander, but within few months, both Alexander's wife and son were done to death. वो खुद तो मर गया, उसका एक मरने के बाद उसका बेटा भी हुआ था, इसकी पत्नी रुक्साना, शायद रुक्साना से हुआ होगा। तो रुक्साना को और उसका जो बेटे को ग्रीक के जो सोल्जर्स थे उन्होंने मार दिए थे। तो इस तरह से अलेक्जेंडर का लाइफ जो है खत्म हो गया था। दिस इज द ट्रेजिक एंड ऑफ द सो कॉल्ड ग्रेट फाइटर अलेक्जेंडर। सो इस एपिसोड के बाद, ये मैंने आपको जो सुना है अलेक्जेंडर और पुरु महाराज की स्टोरी, मैं भारत की सभी सनातनी हिंदुओं को जो स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ाई करते हैं, वो उनका ये कर्तव्य है, वो उनकी जो टीचर हो, लेक्चर हो या प्रोफेसर्स हों, उनको ये सवाल करें कि हमको गलत इतिहास क्यों पढ़ाया गया, इसका जवाब दो। हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो।